All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our weekly team Zoom. Thank you so much for tuning in live, and thank you to tuning into the recording if you are listening to the playback. We're really excited for tonight's call. We have a special guest, Jacqui Duran, rock star. So excited to hear from her. But before we do, we are going to turn to Lisa for our weekly announcements. And just a reminder, we've got 6 days left. 5 days left to earn the brick by brick number 3 incentive. And then August 1st, the new incentive period will kick off. And so we are going right from working toward earning this incentive, the brick by brick, right into working toward that fall incentive and shooting ourselves right out of the gate to work toward that incentive. So Lisa, do you want to fill us in on what's going on? First and foremost?
Yes, that is a wonderful segue into my announcements, actually.
Perfect.
Because last chance, as Melissa just said, for part 3 of the brick by brick incentive goes to the 31st. And that is 3 new club subscribers for anyone just tuning in, signed up by the 31st with their order processing by August, the end of August. $50 plus order for that to count towards the incentive. 3 new. So last chance for that. And then transition, as Melissa was also just talking about, on August 1st, what to expect. The launch will happen at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. They'll actually start probably a few minutes before that at like 11:56. So whatever time zone you're in, make sure you convert. The things that will be launching: the August whiff box, August scent of the month. Remember, no warmer in August. And then the fall and winter 2022 catalog products will be launching, of course. So queue will be in place. The reporting section on our website, on our workstations, will be down in order to allow, for just a period of time, in order to allow more orders to process, so that you don't overwhelm the system. So just if any of your customers are planning on being up and shopping, let them know that the queue will be in place. So for the product status list, we actually don't have anything back in stock currently as of now for this new week, but there are a lot of back order products that are currently arriving in the warehouse, like today, tomorrow, a couple days from now. So make sure you check out your product status list. There was way too many for me to list off. So if you've been looking for something that's been on back order, check the product status list, because there's a good chance that it is arriving back at the warehouse this week. We have Scentsy is emailing our customers who have purchased licensed products tomorrow in order to promote the Moana products that just released recently. So look for that email to be coming out tomorrow, going to your customers. And then we have an article that popped up. We can now opt out of monthly award pins, charms, and certificates if you want to. So this is going to be a monthly thing. You have to opt out under the account tab of your workstation before the 10th of each month. You go to My Account, Awards, and then you select what you don't want to receive. You will still be recognized at events. And on the workstation, you just won't get anything physical like the charms or the pins or the certificates. So if you've got like a million bajillion and you don't want to get any more, you can go in and you can opt out from those physical ones. So that is happening. We have just found out today that the Bring Back My Bar winners for January are going to be announced on Thursday, which is exciting. And apparently there's going to be a surprise that is going to be coming along with the ones that were voted back as well. I have no idea what that surprise is going to be, but that's straight from Lacey Hanson. Look forward to that on Thursday. And I think that is everything that I have. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lise. Great job. Thanks for keeping us in the loop and up to date.
Anytime.
And Amy Lewis, I saw that you just popped on, and we want to say congratulations for earning all 3 levels of the Brick by Brick incentive. That is awesome. So great job shouting you out. And I don't mean to leave anybody else out, but I just saw that she popped on. Okay. Our special guest this evening is my dear friend and amazing rock star, the Jacqui Duran, who is just, you guys, she's a Scentsy rock star, and I am honored to have her with us tonight. Some of you may follow her on YouTube, or even if you subscribe to her channel, then you get the notifications of all of the awesome things that she shares over there on her YouTube channel. But I'm not going to take any more time. Jacqui, you tell us who you are and tell us your Scentsy story. And then we want to know, what does the window into Jacqui Duran's Scentsy life look like? So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My goodness. I will tell you, I absolutely, Melissa, I love you with every breath that I have. And I will tell you that when I joined Scentsy, you were one of the people that stood out to me. For whatever reason, you stood out to me. So it means a lot to be here today. I'm Jacqui Duran. I joined in 2012. I didn't really join for any other reason, but I happened to like things that smell good. And somebody happened to ask me to do a party. And so I was like, oh, make it earlier. Sure, I'll do a party. It's fine. Yeah. I like hosting people. So I did that. Had no idea until they brought everything to my house and like laid out all these testers. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And so anyway, fast forward to about 2 months later, and I was like, I think I'm going to try this thing. At least if nothing else, it'll give me something to do, because I was working full time, crazy hours, trying to work my way up the corporate ladder. And my youngest was like 2 or 3 at the time, and I just needed something that was me, just me. And so that's why I honestly started. I didn't do anything with the business. I am not the rock stars that I see coming out today who hit shooting star and sensational star, and I love it. And I love everybody who shoots for those. And even if they miss, it's still them trying, because I didn't even try. And it was probably about 1.5 years in, after I'd been told that, hey, Jacqui, you're not really doing much in your business. And if you want to do something here, then you got to do something. Well, my husband and I were sharing one car. I worked overnight. He worked during the day. So we didn't have to pay for babysitting, because that's expensive. And so I didn't have time, physically didn't have time to go do home parties. I didn't have the time to do it. And back then, that was the way to do it, right? You did home parties. We didn't really talk about Facebook parties or online stuff too much. It was more of the home party concept, events and fundraisers. And I wasn't really good at it. And so I started to talk myself out of the business, saying, maybe I'll just give this up. Maybe this really isn't for me. This just isn't for me. I was going back to college, trying to get my bachelor's. Remember, I'm working my way up the corporate ladder. So I had a heart-to-heart with my superstar director, who happens to be Tracy DeMario. And I love her to pieces. And she told me, she was like, Jacqui, do not give up. And I was like, you don't understand. I'm not any good at it. And she's like, no, just trust me. Don't give up, because I see something in you. All right. Well, that kind of sparked me. And so I started looking. Well, I reached out and didn't really have too much help from my sponsor at the time. And so I went on YouTube, used the Google machine. And I found some really great rock stars like Kimberly Pulido and Christina Stainbrook, and Jessica Villarreal. They were doing some videos at the time. There wasn't a whole lot of Scentsy people doing videos back then. And so I just started saying, okay, well, there are other ways to do this business. It's not just a home party or an event or a fundraiser. oh my goodness, there's other ways to do this. And so I completely changed my mindset. It was from that moment on that I was like, okay, first and foremost, I need to help people who are like me, because I felt so lost in this business. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I wasn't really meant to be here. And I was just kind of, well, I wasn't kind of, I was having the imposter syndrome, right? Like, I'm not really meant to be here. This isn't my bag. And so I started and I made a commitment to myself. And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is back in OG days. We had Google Hangouts, and Google Hangouts was so cool, right? Because for people like me who didn't come from social media, right? I didn't know social media then. I had to learn it, right? And Google Hangouts was really cool because you could go live on Google Hangouts and then it would automatically like upload it to your YouTube channel. And I was like, well, I can do that. I can click live. I can do that. And so I made a commitment and I said, okay, every Monday night, I'm going to go live and I'm going to share what I'm doing in my business every Monday night. I will tell you, I had a team of like 16 maybe at the time. I was a lead consultant. I didn't feel like I knew much of anything, but I showed up every single Monday and I would share how I was figuring out samples that week, or I would share how I was contacting people and following up. I would share how I was organizing my Scentsy space, and I didn't have like today. I've got one of the bedrooms in our house is my office, right? I didn't have that. I had a little teeny tiny desk in the corner of our bedroom that I would just shove all of my crap onto, right? Like that was it. But I still needed organization, and I knew I did. And so I would share those little things. It wasn't anything big. It wasn't anything special. And I was like, well, I'm not really doing this for anybody because my team, they weren't even showing up to the lives. So 9 times out of 10, it was me talking to the screen, just talking to the screen. But I had made a commitment to myself, and that was a big thing. I didn't make it to somebody else. I didn't make it to my sponsor. I didn't make it to my husband, and nothing. It was me to me saying, Jacqui, if you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, and you're going to show up and you're going to do it. And I did. Like I said, talk to the screen for probably a good 7 months. And slowly but surely, I would trickle and start to have some team members start to come on. And they'd start listening. And then I started kind of growing from there. All of that started because I was so consistent. I swear, one of these days, I'm going to put consistency somewhere on my body. That word is going to be here, I promise you. But because I was consistent, I started having people who I had no idea who they were would join my team. I would just get that email, right? Congratulations, your team is growing. You have a new consultant. And I was like, who? I didn't have a conversation with anybody. I don't know who this person is. They live in a completely different state than I do. I've never been to that state, right? I was starting to build a team because people were looking for something, whatever it was, but looking for ways to work this business. And even though I didn't feel like I had anything of value that I was putting out there, it was still value, right? You don't have to be, what all that taught me is that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything beautiful. It doesn't have to be that picture perfect office. It doesn't have to be that I need to know all the programs and all the things to do this business right, because it was all about me sharing my journey. And that's what people were attracted to. I wasn't getting on every Monday night saying, hey, you should come do this Scentsy thing with me. It's so awesome. I'm making a great paycheck. I wasn't making that great of a paycheck, okay? It was just, here's what I'm doing this week. Here's what I'm going to try this week. Hey, I think I'm going to try this thing on Facebook and do like a Facebook party. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to post on Instagram today. And that's what I was sharing. And people were attracted to the fact of, I could do that too. I was a working mom. I worked 40 plus hours every single week. Like I said, my youngest was young. And so in those early videos, when I look back on them, it's really nice now because it's almost like this living scrapbook, right? Because I can look back now and I can see Madison, who's going to be 13 in December. And there's those videos where she's literally, I mean, 'cause I would do them, like I said, on Mondays. And some days it would have to be right when I got home from work, right? So I didn't even change my clothes from out of work. I'm just still in my work clothes. And it was like, okay, because I've got dinner and we've got whatever going on tonight. So we knock this out. So it would literally be Madison crawling on top of my back and around me and picking up the bars and everything else. And right, like I'm like, oh my gosh. And I didn't edit a video or anything like that. So it was like, well, it is what it is. This is how it is. And it really made people realize that's me. Like they were looking at it like, that's me. I could do that too. Oh, she's working during the day and then she comes home and she does this. And oh yeah, she's got a little kid and all the things, right? I started building and building and building. And for me, training has always been a passion. It is truly something that I love to do. And like I said, my main goal, the whole reason for me committing to doing those YouTubes every Monday night was simply because I wanted to help other people, because I had been told, sadly enough, by my own sponsor, if you're not going to do it this way, you're not going to be successful. And I was like, well, don't tempt me with a good time, because if you're going to tell me I can't do it, I'm going to tell you that I can. And I'm going to show you that I can. And I had to make it happen, right? Because I was going to look like I had pie all over my face if I was wrong. So I had to make it happen. So I had to learn to be intentional very early on with what I was doing and what I was saying and how I was sharing what I was sharing. And I started doing unboxing videos before I knew unboxing videos were cool. But it was just me getting the scent of the month every month going, oh my gosh, you guys, this stuff is amazing, right? People were excited and they were loving that. And that helped me build truly my first initial, I'll say it this way, my first initial team, because as Melissa can probably tell you, and some of you others on here that have been here for a while can tell you, that the team that I was working with then, they're not here now, right? I've gone through a couple of groups of a team from my growth from starting out in 2012 to today, and I'm a star director working on Superstar. So I have had so many things thrown at me. When I finally moved up that corporate ladder. Scentsy was still always my side gig. It was my happy place. It was the money to help us get the car taken care of, help us with rent, help us with the bills, right? It was all the thing, hashtag income disclosure, all the things. It wasn't anything more than that, because like I said, I'd put myself back through college to climb up that corporate ladder. And when I had finally gotten to that corporate ladder and I was there and I was putting in all the hours and everything else, I remember sitting in my office that quickly then became a cubicle, because that's how life moves now, is cubicles. And I would sit there just like dreaming of 3:30, when 3:30 would come around, and I'd be like, oh, thank God, I can leave, I can go home, and I can work on my Scentsy. Like, that's what I was focused on. And at that time, I still had no desire to ever do this full time, because I was like, no, first of all, at the time, I was the breadwinner of the family. I carried the insurance. I did all the things, right? I was the responsible one there doing it all. Holding it down is what I thought. And all of that work, all of those years, it just happened that all of that hard work was paying off, because I was seeing my team growing. I had made it to director in 2018. Again, not that fast starter, right? I know a lot of people, and maybe some of you guys here, were able to start and join and just climb that ladder. That was not me. It's not me. But I was consistent and I was determined and I was intentional. And I knew what I wanted. I wanted to at least have a business. And so I kept doing what I was doing, just being me. I wasn't trying to figure out the newest thing. I mean, I was learning all the new things, but I wasn't sitting there going, okay, I'm going to do this because it was, I want to serve other people. And that was truly my only purpose. And then the paycheck on the back end was nice as well. So for me, I was the one who was able to hit annual mentor, never annual sales. I still haven't yet hit annual sales. But that annual mentor, oh, that baby, that baby. I love that annual mentor because that's the one that means so much to me because I was like, that's my purpose. That's why I'm here. And so I kept on working, insanely enough, kept on working at this job that gave me no recognition. I was lucky if I got a 4% raise once a year. I actually had earned, I remember earning the leadership trip to Punta Cana and being told I couldn't go because I had the time off, but they had put a PTO freeze. So we weren't allowed to take any time off of work. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me right now. You mean I have worked for a free vacation and I can't go? I was a very disgruntled employee on the inside, not on the outside, but it was killing my soul. And I was putting so much effort into what I was doing. And I just remember coming home every night and being stressed and being in a bad mood. And then, then I'd pour myself into my Scentsy and I'd get out of my funk and it was all great. In 2019, right before Christmas, my vice president came to me and they decided that they were going to outsource my entire team. So I was like, all right, let's focus on that. So I was focusing on that. Got my staff all moved over to where they needed to go. And then my vice president called me back in. I was thinking, oh, here she is. She's going to tell me what a great job I've done, I'm sure. And then she's going to figure out what I'm going to do now, right? She did just the opposite. I came in, I remember sitting down and I was like, okay, we're done. We got that phase out. All right. So now we're ready to move on. She goes, well, I have to tell you, unfortunately, I just don't really have anywhere else to put you in the department. So you can have a couple options. You can apply for another position within the company, or we can give you a severance package because I'd been there for 15 years. And I was like, are you what? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like everything that I've done to get to this point, and this is what's happening? I remember I cried my eyes out for a good 2 weeks. Like, this is insane. And then my husband kept telling me, he was like, but you have your Scentsy business. I was like, yeah. But I mean, I can I really do that full time? I don't know if I can do that full time. And he's like, well, you're going to find out. And so he's the one who pushed me to say, you're going to make this happen. My severance package was enough to get us by for 6 months. And he was like, all right, we figured it out. We sat down, did the budget. He was like, you've got 6 months to make this work. If you can make this work, you can do this full time. That would be awesome. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take another position. And so we were going to switch roles, right? It's like, okay, it's on. And I was so excited and I was so determined. And those first 2 weeks, I will tell you, when I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m., I was like, oh, this is amazing. I am so excited. Maybe I'll do some samples later. And I will tell you, I did not get hardly anything done. And at the end of those first 2 weeks, I remember sitting there telling myself, what the heck, Jacqui? You dreamed of this. You sat in that cubicle and dreamed of being able to make your own schedule and do what you wanted to do. So why aren't you doing what you want to do? Sometimes you got to have those hard talks with yourself, right? I like to call them a staff meeting. And so I was like, all right, I got to go back to what works for me. Now, for me, I thrive on structure. So from my corporate job, I was very time blocked, right? I would have meetings or coachings or trainings that I was doing, all the different things, right? All throughout the day. So I was like, you know what? Let me take that concept. Let me apply it to my Scentsy business. As soon as I did that, everything instantly fell into place for me in my business. Everything. Because I was able to schedule everything out. And again, for me, that's what worked, because otherwise it was Netflix and on the couch all day long. Maybe I'll do some Scentsy work. So I went back to my roots, right? I had to go back to being intentional. I had to go back to being what I had strived to do. I had to change that mindset. So the way that a typical week looks for me, on Mondays, I gave every day a theme, right? Because we have a lot of pieces of our business. And over the years, I've had, I don't even know how many coaching calls with team members who have said, I don't know what I'm supposed to be working on. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so I'd implemented like this theme system a long time ago, but I hadn't really like put it out. So I put all my intention into figuring out how I'm going to theme this and how I'm going to do it, because I wanted to make sure I was touching a piece of my business every single day, right? Our business is not just sales, right? It's also sponsoring, and then it's retention of our team, and it's helping them grow. And then it's also pouring into ourselves and showing up for meetings and, all these things that it takes to be successful in this business and keep growing and keep moving and evolving with it. And so for me now, Mondays are my personal development days. I've been doing this for over 10 years, you guys. And I will tell you right now that I learn something new every single week about this business. I talk to other directors when I will collab or do sessions like that on a leadership level, and they'll tell me, oh, I don't need to listen to that Tuesday training call. I've listened to all those before. You guys really, I listen to the Tuesday training call every single week. Listen to it this morning. I took a whole page and a half full of notes. Everything that we have with Scentsy gives us something. And I think that personal development, pouring into yourself, is one of the most important things you can do. And when I have people coming to me saying, how do you do all the things that you do on Instagram? And how do you do your videos on YouTube? How do you edit that? Or how do you put that up there? And I'm like, you know what? I Googled it. I used the Google machine and I figured it out. So I would watch videos of people not even within Scentsy, right? Of how to edit a video. I had an iPhone for I don't even know how long. I didn't even know that the iMovie would edit for me, and it was perfectly free on my phone. It took me forever to figure that out till I Googled it one night, and I was like, where has this been? I could have edited out Madison climbing all over me for years. That could have been gone, but I figured it out. And so I just kept doing it by practicing and putting it into action. Same thing with Instagram. So I followed people, and like I said, half of them aren't even Scentsy people. They're people who, are Instagram pros or whatever you want to call them, who show, here's how to do a reel, or here's how to be effective, or here's a good strategy for posting and being in your stories and da 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 da. I had to research all of that to do that. And so it literally took me looking it up and putting it into practice and seeing what was going to happen. And I don't remember where I learned it or who I heard it from, but a long time ago I had heard that everything that you're doing today will come to fruition in 90 days. So everything that you're doing today doesn't mean all the conversations I had today with people about sales, or the couple that I had about sponsoring and joining this month. They may or may not join or buy tomorrow. But if I'm consistent with them, and if I continuously follow up with them, then I guarantee you in the next 90 days, I'm going to weed them out one way or the other. They're either going to buy, they're going to join, or they're going to just go away. And I'm going to weed it out. So on Mondays, personal development is what I do. And I watch at least 2 YouTube trainings. Some days it is maybe some that I haven't seen in a while that are just really good core training, right? That I have to like refresh myself. It's always good to go back and rewatch things. I also on Mondays will take 30 minutes and I read a book. Not a nonfiction book, or not a fiction book. It has to be a nonfiction book. So like right now I'm reading, well, I don't know if you want me to say that title on TV or on TV on the video, by Josh Coates. How to motivate and mentor your team to true success. It's pretty good so far, I will tell you. I've highlighted a lot in this book, but 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes every Monday of reading a book. 2 trainings is what I watch. And then I kind of prep my week. I look at my week and I say, okay, what's coming? Because here's the deal, right? We had to pivot when everything happened. If you were here during, the big vid, okay? We all had to pivot. Everything changed everything changed. And so I had to really go back to, again, going back to the basics, and the basics for me were consistently showing up, doing all of these things and such. So that personal development piece became huge because I had to figure out now, now I got to do Zoom things, and now I got to do this, and now everything is moving. I had to learn how to do parties differently, even on Facebook, right? Facebook keeps changing all the time. Everything's changing. And so when I'm sitting down and I'm planning my week, I have to really be intentional about it, because now we have lots of LTOs. I didn't have to worry about LTOs back in the day, right? Like we would have like nothing like we have now, right? But we'd have, a big event coming up, or a big, sale that was going to happen. But this now in the Scentsy world that we live in, right? It's okay. Like Lisa at the beginning, right? She went through and gave us all of the information on what's happening, what's coming. That's what I do on Mondays. So every week it has to be done, because every week is going to be something new. I know it is, right? We don't even know what's happening tomorrow. So that's how my Monday looks. On Tuesdays for me, it is team day. It is totally team-centered day. First of all, I'm watching the all consultant training call in the morning. Then I move over and I start doing team shout outs. So I'm sending emails. I have my group training page that I do. I'm making, this is really funny, because for people, I love doing this. I get a kick out of it. I think the majority of my team does. If they don't, then they're just not telling me. But something fun that I love to do is just to go on Snapchat and find whatever random, ridiculous filter I can find, and do a short, quick Snapchat of me telling them if they're close to paid a title, maybe if they're close to a promotion, something like that. And then I just save it on my phone, and then I text it to them. 9 times out of 10, they'll laugh and they'll say, thank you so much, I'm working on it, or whatever. So like I said, if they don't like it, they're just not telling me. But it's something fun to do. So I like to just throw that in there, because it's different, it's unique. And hopefully it puts a smile on their face, because at the end of the day, that's what I want, right? This has always been my happy place. I want other people to have this be their happy place. And so that's what I try and spread out. I always go live every single Tuesday at 1 o'clock in my training group. Then I go and I will do, usually I'm doing another training, a collab training that I do. And then I will prep team mail. So I do random mail outs to my team. I look for people within my team who maybe have hit active for the very first time. Maybe they've been like I was, right? Maybe they've been a consultant for a year, and maybe they've got active like 1 or 2 times, but not really consistently or whatever, right? They don't have a team. They're just kind of floating along. Okay. When I see that they've done something and they haven't done something the last 1, 2, 3, or 4 months, I send them out a happy mail card. And literally it's just a card, and it says hello on it. And then I write them a fun, cute note. And of course I throw confetti in there, because that's just who I am. But then I send that out. And so it's looking for ways, again, to just let them know, I see you. I see you. And for some of us, it may be like, oh, active, that's not a big deal. But for other people, that is a huge deal. It was for me in the very beginning. Now, back then it was 150 to be active, and getting to that 150 point, it took me a minute. Again, I wasn't the greatest at sales, but I worked on it, right? So when I would hit those levels, I remember those feelings. And so I like to celebrate those. I like to shout those out. So that's kind of what my Team Tuesday looks like for me, is doing fun stuff like that. On Wednesday, it's usually a collab day, because somewhere, some way, I usually am doing at least 1 or 2 work at Wednesdays with different groups of people. I like to change it up with different groups, strictly because I find that again, just like if you look on YouTube today, right? Or if you watch a training today, or you get on any Facebook group today, right? And you're listening to somebody, you're going to pick up something different that maybe you wouldn't have gotten from that other person. So I like to be on different collab groups, because I'm able to pick out things that help me grow. I remember, I think it was Jennifer Anderson did a training and was talking one time about how you know, it's really great to, you know, want to be like somebody else, want to do all the things that so-and-so is doing, or, you know, I love how they run their business. I love this and that. But if you're just looking, if you have that tunnel vision on that one person, you cannot be that person, right? Who are you? So if you start to spread yourself out, if you start to move in different circles and you get to experience working with and watching and learning from other people, then you're going to be able to start finding different pieces. And I guarantee you, you're going to find the things that are going to help you be somebody who you didn't even know you could be. Trust me, in 2012, I guarantee you, if you had asked me, hey, Jacqui, are you going to be on a call one night doing this full time? I would have literally laughed you out of the room, been like, no, that is not me. Here we are. So Wednesdays are a collab day. So I'm trying to collab, do different things. And usually samples are involved on Wednesdays for me. I like to do bulk sampling. So I will make up depending on whatever it is that I'm kind of working on. Sometimes it's Scentsy Fresh. Sometimes it's wax. Sometimes it's dish soap samples. It just kind of depends. But I like to have everything ready and in bulk. And you guys have probably seen it. I've got one of those IKEA desks, right? So I make up all my samples all together, big batches. And then that way I can very easily, as I'm either sending out happy mail or a thank you bag, or maybe it's a potential team member, or maybe I'm sending out a party pack or something. All I have to do is grab and go, grab and go, grab and go. And it makes it so much easier. So Wednesdays, I really focus on that. Thursdays are all about my customers. So I like to take some of the things that I do with my team. This might sound weird, but I like to take some of the things I do with my team and apply it to my customers. One of those being the Snapchat. I love sending somebody a thank you text with some ridiculous like gorilla filter on Snapchat with a silly voice and just saying, April, thank you so much for your order today. It completely made my day. And texting it to them, and every single time, they are always responding like right back, those customers. They think that is just awesome. So finding different ways to, again, not only work with your team, but to work with your customers, because most of my customers now are repeat customers. They've been with me for a while, right? And so the same thing comes when I'm thinking of, okay, what am I going to send them for, you know, thanking them for ordering from me? You know, normally that would be a scent circle, but do I really want to send a scent circle every single time somebody orders? That would get really boring, I would think. Maybe not, I don't know. So I like to mix it up and send something maybe a little bit different than what I sent last time. And so I do the same thing when it comes to the team with my customers. I like to change it up a little bit. So it might be that Snapchat filter that they might get. Not all the time, but sometimes. And it's always a happy surprise. But focusing on my customers, that's also, again, when I will get out any handwritten notes. I like to follow my customers who I've like built those relationships with. And I will go into, and I'll get to it, but I use Trello as my tracking system for everything. And so I will look in my Trello and I will say, okay, who are my customers? And then I will go and I will literally just go to Facebook, because, you know, you can get lost in the black hole on Facebook. Don't do it. If you do, set yourself a timer, because it is a total time suck. Don't get sucked in. I have to set a timer. So I will go in though, and I will literally just hit the search bar and I will pull up their name. And then I will look to see, like, what are they doing in their life right now? What's happening with them? Are they getting ready for the kids going back to school right now? Did somebody lose a family member? You know, did they get a new dog? Whatever it is, right? And so again, I will just kind of randomly look through, and then I will send a card. Now, sometimes it's a condolence card. So I usually go to Target, and when I'm at Target, I'll go to like the 99-cent cards or get the cards in the packages. And then that way I already have cards on hand. And so when I'm pulling them up on Facebook on Wednesdays, I'll just search and I'll find something, you know, hey, I saw, you know, your son graduated from kindergarten. How exciting. I remember those days, right? And just writing a short little note. That's it. Nothing Scentsy related. Now, I do, of course, put like a rub and sniff sticker on the darn envelope, but you know what I mean, right? But it lets them know that I'm thinking of them. It's not because they just ordered from me. It's because I'm trying to build those relationships. And just a handwritten note, they love that, which is why I'm able to have those repeat customers. So that's what Wednesdays are, is focusing on my customers. And then also, how am I going to get more customers, right? That's always our job. That was Thursday. For Friday, I like to call my wrap up day. Anybody else set out to do things and then either don't get them done or don't finish them or forget them completely, or, oh my gosh, the kid got sick and so now I couldn't do everything I was going to do, or I got sick, right? Okay, that's what Fridays are for me. It's literally the catch-all for the week, right? What didn't I get to? Maybe I did get distracted and fell down a Facebook hole. Maybe I got on a coaching call that was supposed to last 30 minutes and ended up lasting like an hour and a half, right? Sometimes things are going to happen, or I ended up having to go to the grocery store whatever, right? Things happen, life happens. It's all there. That's what Fridays are for. And if I'm lucky enough, I don't know how many times it's actually happened where I'm like, oh, I got everything done, I don't know what to do. Well, then it just goes back into, okay, now how can I maybe organize my office a little bit, right? Because for me, Fridays is kind of like again, it's more of that wrap up, right? Because this is my full-time job. And just like being a mom or a dad or having grandchildren, right? Your job doesn't stop when it comes at 5 o'clock, right? I am still a recovering workaholic. So I have to force myself on Fridays to say, I've got to get out of this office for a bit. And so one of those ways, it's like an atomic habit. If you guys read Atomic Habits by James Clear, got to see him at SFR in 2019, amazing, right? So it's one of those habit stacking things. When I'm wrapping up, when I'm organizing my office and putting things away and clearing off all the clutter on my desk, right? My brain is going into, okay, I'm winding it down. I'm winding it down. Because otherwise, I'll just keep on going through the whole weekend, and then burnout will hit you hard. Trust me, it will. Nobody wants to burn out. It's not fun. Saturdays for me, I don't really put a whole lot of focus on it, but for the majority, it's usually a lot of family stuff, but I usually have some free time. Oh my gosh, I have free time. And that's usually when I will go on my social media and I will schedule posts out for the upcoming week. Now I used to I tried Visly for a while. It just wasn't my jam. I tried ScentShare for a while. It just really wasn't my jam. It didn't feel like me. It felt more automated, and I just didn't like that. I didn't like it. So I went back to the basics, and I just get on Facebook and I literally hit that schedule button. And that's what I do in my VIP group on my business page, and I schedule it all out. So I might be on Pinterest and scroll Pinterest for a while. I do love Pinterest. That is a black hole that I can fall down very quickly. But I can also find sometimes some really great inspiration for like, ooh, how can I apply that to my business, right? That's one of the things I love to find. But sometimes it might just be motivational quotes or a funny quote or some Disney quote somewhere, right? I can throw those into my VIP group or to my business page, right? So I can have that balance of not just vomiting Scentsy all the time on my social media. So that's usually what Saturdays kind of look like when it comes to work. Outside of that, unless I've got an event or a coaching call or, we're doing something as a team, then that might come into play. But really, I do try and take the weekends off. It's just like what I like to call passive working. It's very passive. It's usually all done from the couch, usually not in my office at all. In fact, I close the door so I don't come back in here unless I need to get something out of my office. And then Sundays is really family day. Again, it's very more laid back. I try to really focus and be intentional with my family, because my husband works full time. He works during the day and works long hours. I've got my oldest is turning 25 next month, and she is expecting our first grandchild. It is a boy on Thanksgiving. So I'm trying to be more intentional with finding more time to be with her and spend time with her and have that bond as she's pregnant. My son is turning 21 in October, and I don't know if anybody's been around a 21-year-old boy lately, but let me just tell you, they are not that friendly and they're not that interested in hanging out with their mom. So usually it's a text or two, but the youngest, she still at least likes to watch movies. So that's really what a Sunday is for me. It's really just kind of filling in the holes, because that also fills my cup, right? For a lot of us, especially, it's filling our cups. And so on Sunday, I get to relax, recharge. And then Sunday evenings, my husband usually goes to bed real early because I'm the night owl, but he goes to bed early because he has to wake up early. And so I spend my Sunday evenings planning my week. I will sit down. I'm a digital planner. If you didn't know, I know it's a little ridiculous, but I love my iPad, and I just I have the Good Notes app. That's what I have. And then I go on Etsy and I buy a planner for the year, and that's what I use. For me, it's kind of cathartic because I actually enjoy like getting in there and writing everything down. I was a paper planner for years. But this gives me so much more creativity, so it feeds into that, so it makes me happy. That's why I do it. It makes me happy. I love doing it. And so Sunday evenings is set for planning my upcoming week. What am I going to do? How is it going to look? What's coming out on Monday? Normally that's like our release day, right? Except this last week, it totally threw me off with a Tuesday. So Mondays are usually a busy day. So I know I gotta get ready for that. And maybe that looks like putting out some extra posts or sending some extra emails to people. So I really try and keep to that schedule as much as I possibly can. Obviously, life gets in the way. It does. But at the same time, it makes sure that I'm at least touching the sponsoring part, the retention part, the sales part, right? I'm really feeding into all of those pieces of my business. And I will tell you that even if you're working full time, you don't do this full time, right? So it wasn't my intention. But I will tell you that that's what saved me and got me to where I am today, was because I had that theme, so to speak, to my week. Because when a hectic day at work happened, I would get home and I would just be like, I don't even know what needs to be done right now. I don't even know. Did I do follow-ups this week? I don't know. Like, there were days. And so it would be my guide. It was kind of like my guide that I could look at to go, okay, oh yeah, today's Tuesday, it's team day. Okay, let me do some shout outs. And then I wouldn't feel so jumbled and out of sorts about everything. And I do a lot of my business on social media. So I show up on social media. Instagram is my jam. I say this all the time, I'm only on Facebook for my team and for my group and for the Facebook groups for our Scentsy consultants, right? And to, of course, also catch up with some of my customers. But if that wasn't there, if Facebook disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'm not going to lie. Wouldn't be upset about it, because it tends to be there's a lot of drama sometimes going on, and the vague posting. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. And I really have learned over the last year, probably more in the last 6 months, is to really set up boundaries for myself, because I have always been the yes person. Always been that way. In every job I ever did, always the yes person, always showing up, always just doing it, getting things done that needed to be done. Fine, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. It burns you out very quickly. And so I had to learn how to set up those boundaries. So when I was finding that team members were being negative and complaining that they didn't get this, they were at work. I was at work. I couldn't get it ordered in time. I'm sorry. Next time we're going to plan better though, right? I want to move on, because the old Jacqui used to get all tied up in the drama. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Oh my goodness, right? You can get sucked into that too. And if you get sucked into that negativity or any drama, it's going to pull you and your business along with it. It is literally like a cement block on your ankle, and it's going to pull you straight down. So I always like to tell people to set boundaries for what you're going to allow to happen, because here's the thing. That's my phone. The things I want to see is what I'm going to see on my phone. I'm not here for everybody else. I am here for me and my business and why I'm doing my business, right? We have to be rock solid in what we want out of this business. I just had this discussion with my team today. What do you really want out of this business? And for me, yeah, I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it, and I've got my vision and I've got my goals and I know my roadmap, right? Because just like Melissa has talked so much about how this business at the end of the day, it can give you so much, but it is really just the basic steps, right? It is sales, it's sponsoring, it's retention, rinse, recycle, and repeat, right? And then you learn things along the way, right? Maybe you learn how to do Canva better, or you learn how to do some Instagram reels, or you learn how to do something cool on Facebook. I don't know, right? Like all those things. That's when you can take the time to figure that stuff out. But once you start that rinse, cycle, and repeat pattern, you're going to be able to start knocking that pattern out, and then you're going to have more time to do the things that you want to learn how to do. Because I like to say that I'm very good at Instagram, and it's simply because I enjoy being on the platform. So for me, I do put more time into learning about the platform, but I still have to learn it. Nobody came and taught me how to do Instagram. Nobody showed up at my door to tell me how to do YouTube videos, right? I had to dedicate some time. And that's where Mondays came in for me, right? It was learning how to do all those things and then just keeping on doing them. Because once you start to do it, even one of my directors is Lisa Sanderson, and I love her to death. And she is somebody who has my heart because she gives back to our social or our Scentsy community so much. She runs the Sensational Pictures, or I can't remember what the name of her darn group is, but she shares all real life pictures, right? She is so good at giving back to the Scentsy community, and I absolutely love it. And I love being able to see and to foster those people who are wanting to give back, because I will tell you right now, the people that you surround yourself with are the people who you are going to end up like. So look at your circle, look at what you're putting out there, because what you put out there is what's going to come back. So the more authentic, the more generosity that you give, right, the more you're going to get back. So that's why I will show people how to do the things on Instagram. I will show people how to do the digital planner, right? I will do all of those things because if I need help, I know I can reach out to those people. And that's what we're all about, is building that culture and that community and being able to have all of that. And that's our job. That's really flipping cool that we get to do that. And we get to have people around us that are just like us, right? Trying to figure this darn thing out. I am trying to get there every single month, right? Hitting that monthly sales, getting in to work on that annual mentor, working on annual sales, working on earning that incentive, right? Those are the things that I love to do, is have those conversations. So pour yourself into those things and surround yourself with those people, because it's only going to lift you up and lift you higher. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of a peek into Jacqui. I know I'm weird and kind of nerdy when it comes to that stuff, but I love it. I love it.
I absolutely love it. You inspire me. You've inspired so many of us that are on here. I mean, look at the chat.
Okay.
You are inspiring people left and right, and you've inspired me. And we always need reminders on, it's kind of like what you said. Like, I listen to the all consultant calls and I can take a page and a half of notes, because every consultant does things a little bit different. And just because you've been here long doesn't mean you know everything. I mean, we have a lot to learn from consultants that just start. they're entering the business in a totally different time and in space and age than we are. And, you know, we have things that we can learn from people that have been here less time than us. And so, just a really, really good reminder. And look, basically saying, if you want it to be a business, it can be a business, but you have to treat it as one. It won't run itself. You will literally get out of it what you put into it, like that age-old saying. But the opportunity is there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you, and you are amazing. And you kind of made it, you really kind of just dumbed it down. Like, it's not complicated. It's just about being consistent.
Yeah. Totally. Consistent and intentional with your time.
Mhm.
Because if you're somebody, and this was me for a long while, where I only maybe had, you know, literally only 30 minutes a day that I could do anything that was related to Scentsy, because I was just busy.
Yep.
I had work, I had everything else going on. So that 30 minutes, I will tell you, that was the most intentional 30 minutes of my day. I literally closed the world off. I would go sit in the other room. Didn't matter. There were some days when she was little, I would go lock myself in the bathroom. 30 minutes. I'm getting this done. And sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And it's really just reminding yourself of that. You're in control of what you want and what you want your dreams to be. So go after
you, Jack. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Andrea, are we going to draw a name for a winner for tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Dun, dun,
Actually,
dun.
I have 2 names.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so here we go. Mary Jane and Becker.
Nice. Awesome. Congratulations, guys. And thanks for being on the call. Jacqui, thank you again. Appreciate you. And for those of you that like to tune in on Thursday nights, we have Thursday night shift this coming Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I appreciate you, and have a wonderful rest of the evening and week. Bye, guys.